The H-20 is not a symbol of progress but a revealing case study in how the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, manufactures illusions of technological superiority to serve political, psychological, and strategic goals. Behind the carefully crafted narrative, there is a hollow project, largely vaporware, designed more to impress domestic audiences and mislead foreign observers than to deliver actual combat effectiveness. Since its first vague mention more than a decade ago, the H-20 has been wrapped in layers of secrecy and propaganda. That secrecy is not operational in nature, but narrative-driven. There is a clear pattern: promise something grand, repeat slogans endlessly, issue controlled leaks through state-backed channels, and avoid delivering anything that could be independently evaluated. This cycle has been repeated so consistently that the H-20 has become less a military asset and more a psychological weapon designed to exploit uncertainty. The CCP's media machine continues to describe the H-20 in inflated terms: strategic game changer, stealth breakthrough, long-range deterrent. But these phrases are repeated with no supporting data. In a real system of innovation and accountability, those claims would be backed up with timelines, technical milestones, and operational testing. In China, they are backed only by political loyalty and narrative conformity. This reveals a fundamental weakness. The regime's obsession with controlling the story overrides its ability to produce real-world results. The Chinese military-industrial system, driven by central control rather than open competition, has created an environment where progress is declared before it is earned. The incentives are skewed. Engineers, defense contractors, and military officials are rewarded not for building effective weapons but for telling leaders what they want to hear. This leads to inflated projections, misrepresentation of technical readiness, and suppression of negative feedback. The H-20, still nowhere to be seen in practical terms, is a direct product of this system. The absence of tangible evidence is critical. After years of development, there is still no independently verified sign that the aircraft is real, much less operational. There is no official unveiling, no confirmation of serial production, no flight testing data, no external validation of capabilities, and no observable deployment activity. If the H-20 were truly functional or even nearing operational status, the CCP would exploit it to intimidate rivals and boost internal morale. Instead, it remains a specter, invoked repeatedly, but never appearing. This contradiction exposes one of the central flaws of authoritarian systems: the inability to admit failure or delay. The regime must always project strength and inevitability. Therefore, even projects that are stagnating must be publicly declared as advancing. This creates a fictional timeline, where every year brings the same recycled claim that the H-20 is almost ready or about to debut. Yet the reality never changes. The aircraft remains absent, and its capabilities remain untested and unproven. Domestically, the H-20 is used as a psychological prop to promote nationalism and unity. In state-approved messaging, it symbolizes China's rise, its defiance of external pressure, and its supposed superiority in next-generation technology. The message is clear: China is strong because it says it is, and the H-20 is the proof. This tactic is designed to prevent dissent and reinforce public trust in the party. It also ensures that any technical or strategic shortcomings are hidden behind layers of patriotic theater. Internationally, the narrative is equally manipulative. The regime counts on the uncertainty surrounding the H-20 to create hesitation and strategic overestimation among its rivals. By offering just enough detail to spark concern, without revealing anything concrete, it attempts to create a psychological edge. But that edge is built on smoke. The longer the illusion continues without substance, the more obvious the con becomes. Over time, foreign analysts are adjusting their assessments, recognizing that Chinese propaganda around military advancement often outpaces its actual capability by a wide margin. The H-20 fits a broader trend: China's outward projection of technological superiority is often hollow. In key areas, including aerospace, jet engines, and stealth design, the Chinese defense industry has a long track record of copying external designs, exaggerating indigenous progress, and failing to deliver reliable platforms at scale. In these sectors, breakthroughs are declared, not demonstrated. Success is measured by press releases, not performance. This is not innovation. It is performance art masquerading as defense modernization. Furthermore, the longer the H-20 remains a ghost project, the greater the risk for the CCP. A credible deterrent cannot remain invisible forever. At some point, the bluff must be called. If the aircraft is revealed and it fails to meet expectations, the psychological weapon collapses. If it is never revealed, it confirms that the entire project was fiction. Either outcome undermines the regime's credibility, not just abroad, but at home, where it cannot afford to appear weak or deceptive. Ultimately, the H-20 is not about military strategy. It is about control, controlling the population through illusion, controlling external perception through misinformation, and controlling the narrative by flooding media with empty symbols. It is a projection of power that lacks substance. Its purpose is not to win wars but to prevent opposition by making people believe that resistance is futile. But reality cannot be faked indefinitely. The cracks are already showing. The repetition of the same talking points, year after year, with no meaningful update, is eroding the narrative's credibility. Foreign governments, defense analysts, and even segments of the Chinese public are beginning to see through the facade. The illusion is wearing thin. And when illusions fail, what remains is the truth. China's military propaganda is built not on strength, but on fear, fiction, and a desperate need to appear powerful. The H-20 is not late, it is likely nowhere. It is a symbol of a system that cannot admit failure, cannot tolerate transparency, and cannot innovate freely. It is not a weapon of war but a tool of deception. And the longer it remains hidden, the more it confirms the obvious: China is not leading in this field. It is pretending.